Hey everyone, we're going to do something very different this season for season 4 of iRacing. We've started a new YouTube series from the beginning, and what we plan to do is we're going to go right back to the start. We actually had created an account years ago that we had issues actually getting into when we created it, so we have the original account that has never had a race on it. So we're going to go right back to the start. We're going to show you what is capable, um, what sort of career lines to take, how to navigate through the system. So we're going to break down a lot of stuff for you guys. So we'll talk about how to go through your championships, how to get the most out of your point scoring weeks, how to use your drop rounds to affect your licenses, understanding how your license works, how you get graded into servers. So we're going to break down everything from you from the beginning, and we thought it would be much easier to start at the start than obviously where we are with our normal account, where we've had 9 years worth of content on there and races and laps and stuff like that. So it's just to make it really simple for you guys so you can see it right in front of your eyes. So I really hope this helps you. This is our first sort of like introduction video, and then what we'll do is once a week on a Sunday there'll be a new video come out. We'll talk about some new things for the following week. We'll let you know how we've gone for the week of racing. We're actually going to pick a series and run through and start to move our career from the beginning again with the knowledge that we now have after 9 years of doing this. So really looking forward to bringing you this series. And so now that we've got all the little bits and pieces out of the way, let's get stuck in and let's talk about some stuff. Alright guys, so as we're talking about license classes, obviously you have 5 sort of, well, technically there's 6, but right, there's only 5 to the general public. So you've got your rookie class, then from rookie you roll into D, then from D you go to C, to B, and then to A. So that is your general gist of your license structure. There is also a P, which is for Pro Class. You have to qualify in one of the iRacing official sanctioned Pro Series to obtain that. They only give out I think it's like 250 a year. So it is quite challenging to get one of those. You have to be in the top echelon of the drivers in the world, and you have to be extremely competitive in one of the Pro Series to actually attain one of these licenses. So that's where a lot of people sort of think they're going to get there when they get so holed up, and then when they get to A and it gets to the final safety number and then they can't go any further, they sort of go, well, that was a waste of time because they thought they were going to be able to achieve a pro license. So in the terms of safety rating, right, so when you first sign in to iRacing and you start your career, as you can see here, you'll have 2.5 safety rating and you'll be a red rookie license, and that's it. So from this point there, all you have to do is run clean races to get out of rookies, right? So, and I'm not saying just go and run at the back of the field. Like, I personally would say to you, if it takes you 12 weeks, it takes 12 weeks. Like, you need to be honing in your craft here. A lot of people I see on the service are in such a hurry to get out of rookie, and they rush out of there, they don't learn their craft, and then they get to faster cars, and while they can drive the cars fast, they're not consistent. They haven't worked on their actual racecraft, their skills, and actually boosted themselves up. So the better way to go about this is to start from the beginning, be real methodical in the way that you actually approach this. So each week, run your official races, actually lock yourself in for a full season. So we'll get into that in a little bit more detail in a second. So I just want to come back to the rookie stuff a little bit and the license classing. So once you start to run races, right, you'll notice next to the 2.5 there's a couple of dashes. Now, as a rookie license, it does not give you I rating. It does in the background, but you don't actually physically see it until you get out of rookies. So it still does give and take from you, but it it doesn't show it because it doesn't want you to worry about it at the time. It just wants you to focus on actually honing in your craft and being clean, right? So once you've started to understand how it all works and you've run a couple of clean races, right, you'll score some decent points um, towards your safety rating, and then that will get you to a 3.0. So you need to go up half a 0.5 of a point. So you go from 2.5 to 3. Once you get to 3, it's an automatic promotion to D license. So there's no waiting till the end of the season or getting it to the next level or anything like that. Once you get to 3, automatic promotion up, right? So that's the first bit. Once you promote to D license, then it opens your I rating as well. So your I rating is visible as well. So from then, you need to be not so focused on your safety, but you really need to start honing in on the I rating. So, a lot of people think that the safety racing is the be all and end all of how it grades the splits and how good the splits are and how clean they are, and it's not the case. The case of the matter is I rating controls the quality of the field. So I rating grades each driver based on a speed and consistency based, because if you have a high I rating, you're fast and you're consistent because you're winning races or you're finishing in the top five, you're scoring them points. So once you get to that D, the first, like I said, rookie, you need to focus on being clean. Don't worry about where you finish, but don't stress about it, right? So because it's not, you can't see what's going on. It's only once you actually activate D that's when you really start to see things going on. So from that point there, you also got to start to remember that there's a few major factors in all of this along the way. So, I rating is a big byproduct. It also tells you what ranking of a driver you are in that race split. So, when you sign into a server, you have car numbers allocated to you. Obviously, if you've painted a custom car and you've picked your car number, and then you get into a race server and your car number's gone, and all of a sudden your car's 7, and you're like, well, hang on a minute, that's not the car number I selected. That's because this is the way iRacing grades your license and who you are as a driver as you go into an official race server. So it will allocate your car number. Car 1 is the highest rated guy in the server. The last, so say it's a 15 car grid, car 15 would be the lowest rated driver in the server. Now, as we spoke about with the licenses, rookie, obviously you get to 3.0 and it's an automatic upgrade to the next license, which is D. But from that point onwards, it actually changes in the structure and the way that you level up. So if you want to go from D to C, it really depends on what you're running, but you need to do 4 races in the MPR of D class. So in a series of D class, you need to do 4 races, and then you either need to hold a 3.0 safety rating by the time the end of the season rolls around. So by the end of week 12, you need to be at a 3.0, or if you get to a 4.0, it automatically upgrades you to the next license level. So that's just something to hold in mind when you're sort of working through the season towards if you wanting to step up to another car for the the next following season. You go, oh, okay, I'm so close, I might have to do an extra race to get that little bit extra safety so I can actually move up to say C license in time for season 1 2024. Say that's what we'll talk about at the moment. So by doing that, at least you're sort of preparing yourself, then you can jump into that next car and move on, and it's the same the whole way through from that point. So once you get to C, it's the same principle to go to B, same again from B to A. So once you get that sort of all lined up in place, it does make it quite easy to actually understand what you need to do. So all right, so now we're going to talk about the content that you actually receive from iRacing. So when you get started, obviously you pay for your monthly subscription. Highly recommend waiting for the Black Friday sale every year to renew and do the 2-year renewal. Usually that works out to be the best sort of value for money. But then once you get in there, obviously you have to pay for your tracks and your cars and stuff like that, and it can get quite expensive, you know what I mean? There's lots of cool content on here, and you do tend to sort of get a little bit carried away from time to time. So, um, we just wanted to sort of go through a couple of things with you. So obviously you could sort of understand that you actually do get quite a lot of base content, and you can actually move quite far along in your racing career before you really have to buy too much. And it's more that you'll have to buy tracks before you buy cars, because you do actually have some really great baseline content. So obviously everybody's going to have their own sort of preference on what they want to race. Some guys are open wheelers, some guys are tin tops, some guys are going to want to run oval, some guys want to run dirt, speedway, off-road truck stuff. So you get a bit of everything to start with your base content. So obviously this series is about road racing more than anything. We will be doing other content along the way, but we definitely with more of a feature on the road racing side of things. So first great car I highly recommend, obviously that's free, it's the Mazda. It teaches you a lot of good fundamentals, obviously being able to hold minimum corner speed, um, executing braking. The car does have a bit of a tendency to move around under brakes a bit, so it does teach you quite a bit of car control as well, and being able to get to the throttle early so you don't lose momentum down the straights and stuff like that. So fantastic first car. Obviously, that's why it is the rookie car in iRacing, and it's what a lot of guys use to come through. Obviously, there's been a lot of new updates with the Formula V and the Formula Ford and the Toyota 86 coming in the last couple of builds, but the Mazda was the car of choice for years for rookies, just to start to hone and develop your thing, your class and your racing. So it's a great car. It'll teach you a lot from the get go. So that's where we sort of recommend you start. Because I know there is a rookie, I think it's Formula V as well. So depending on if you're an open wheeler guy or if you're a tin top guy, but I find even the guys that I talk to that are heavily open wheeler based guys, they started in the MX5 because it does give them some sort of understanding about movement of the car and slides around. It's a tin top in aspects, but it probably got slight handling characteristics like an open wheeler at times as well. So it gives you a good sort of variance to start. And then when it comes to tracks, there is a few tracks. There's not a lot, and you'll find that like especially with the road stuff, they do tend to cycle certain tracks two times in a season. So, like, I think for this season, VIR shows up twice and Okayama shows up twice. So, you'll get different layouts of the circuit, but they will show up more. So, but definitely, you won't have to buy any content straight away, not unless you're looking to do something outside of the official stuff. So, to start with, I highly recommend MX5, and personally, I wouldn't leave that car for 12 weeks. I would start at wherever you start in the season, and I would stay in it for the whole season. So, we will get into how to actually race for your series now, because this is the interesting one. So, this is how I would approach it and how I'm going to approach it. So, and I learned this a long time ago, but unfortunately, with time constraints and a few other things in life, I've never really been able to actually properly do it. And I'm looking forward to I've allocated myself enough time to be able to do it this season. So, when you start a series at week one, like we are this week, you want to practice obviously towards the start of the week, but the goal is with the racing never to do any more than four official races in that car for that week. So say instance we're at MX5s at VIR this week on the North course, right? So you go in, you do some practice, you know that you've got good consistent pace, you're comfortable in the car, you're happy, right? So then what you would do is you make some time for yourself, you go and register for the race, you go climb in the race, you run your race, right? Say you have an okay race and you finish sixth, say. So, and it was not a huge strength of field, but it was okay. And so you might score 67 championship points for that race, right? And you go, okay, that's not too bad, but I will do another one. So, and then you do another one and you get wrecked out and you finish 14th and you score 26 points and it was a shit show, right? So you go, I'll do one more, and hopefully this next one will be better. Because we've all done it. We get frustrated, but we want to keep racing. So you go and register for another one. You have a blinder of a race, and you finish P2, and you score yourself 99 championship points, right? So all of a sudden, you've done 3 races for the week. You've had one okay one shitty one, and one good one. It's not a win, but it's close enough. So right, so then you've got one left in the bank for the week to use if you want to, or you call it for the week. So the whole premise behind it is the way iRacing works with your structure for your championship. So they run the season over 12 weeks, right? Of those 12 weeks, only 8 weeks count. So 4 weeks you have drop rounds. Now, they don't come into effect until after week 8, and then they'll start picking off your worst point score after each week. So, say you run 9 weeks, and week 7 was your worst point score and you only scored 10 points for the whole week. You didn't have any good races. It was a track you weren't comfortable at and you just had a really bad run. So you get to week 9 and it goes, oh yeah, you scored 37 points this week. So all of a sudden it will can out week 7 because week 7 doesn't count now because it's not good. So by doing that, it obviously it keeps you lined up. So the goal is to run every week just to give yourself a point score because then it's not going to go, well, that's a drop week because you didn't show up and that's a drop week because you didn't show up. At least you put some point score on it. Might not be your best week, but it might give you a better opportunity, right? Now, the reason we only run 4 races is because iRacing works in fours when it comes to point score. So if you race 4 times, it will take your best point score for the week. If you start to run any more than 4 races, it then takes the amount of races you have started for the week and divides that by the average point score. So it can really hinder you. If you have a really good week, it could help you as well. Like if you go and win 6 races in a row, then hey, you might actually have a really good week as well. But you're still averaging it out over the amount of races that you do. So really, there's no benefit to running any more than 4 races. It doesn't actually help you in any way. If anything, it's going to hurt you. So that's the reason why we do that. So it's just to keep it neat and tidy. You know that you've got 4 races to get it done during the week. If you get it done in those 4 races, fantastic. If you don't get it done in the 4 races, take whatever points you did score and hope that you have better rounds in the following week so then you can use it as a drop round. So that's how you do it. Obviously that accrues towards your championship points in your division. So as a rookie, I think you start as a rookie championship, then you move from rookie to Div 9, Div 8, Div 7, Div 6, Div 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, and the way that works is it's on an I rating basis, so it places you roughly where your I rating grades you. And then I don't know the exact um, I rating buffers between each division, but you get a pretty general idea that I think once you crack I think it's 3,500 you go to Div 1, so or 3,500 or 4,000. So anything below that, you sort of bounced in between every. I think it's about every 500 I rating, it moves you up or down a division. So and usually that will reset at the end of a season. So and then so you want to win your championships in your divisions to begin with. But the beauty about that is as well is if you're in a series that gets a lot of Div 1 guys and you racing them as well, the strength of field's going to be higher, which also then gives you higher championship points, which then also offers you an opportunity to actually fight for the outright championship as well, which obviously is you're versing everyone, and it's very hard to do unless you're a Div 1 guy and you're super fast in that car. But it can be done as well, so you sort of got to play all that in mind. So I hope this has helped you and sort of got into a bit of detail with a few things, nothing too crazy to start with. Over the next 12 weeks, obviously, we'll start to drip out a lot more content. If there's any questions you guys have, make sure to leave them in the comments, and we'll definitely put them in the future videos, or we'll reply to you if it seems like an urgent request or question. So, hope this has helped you heaps, guys. Looking forward to working with you over the next 12 weeks and really helping you to sort of understand iRacing and get into it a little bit more and really start to enjoy the whole software and what is really capable. So thanks for that, and we will see you on Sunday for our recap and our next little bit of information. We'll see you then.